Hi everyone, a very good evening to all of you and a warm welcome on the YouTube channel of BYJU'S Exam Prep. Friends, I am Gaurav and today I am going to discuss, like I have promised in the previous sessions, that we are going to bring the sessions in which we'll be talking about different examinations, the top MBA colleges, how to get into these colleges one by one. So, fulfilling our promise, we are up with another session in which we are going to discuss in detail about IIFT. So IIFT, you can call it an examination, you can call it a college as well. So IIFT is one of the rare colleges that conducts its own admission test, and that test that is conducted by IIFT is only considered by IIFT for its admission process, and no other college accepts the score of IIFT. So this is an exclusive entrance examination that is conducted for the selection procedure for Indian Institute of Foreign Trade. It's not fashion technology, it's foreign trade. All right. Now, the flagship program for IIFT, all of you would know, as the name suggests, is international business. So, international business is the flagship program for IIFT, and by far, I can say that if I talk about MBA in international business, so it is the best college for MBA in international business in the country. All right. And if I look at the overall ranking of IIFT, then IIFT will easily come in the top 10 colleges of the country. So I can say that those who are dreaming high, then you must keep this particular examination in the list of examinations that you'll be taking in this season, right? So you must be having CAT examination as one of the prime examinations, as one of the primary examinations that you'll be taking. Now, other than CAT, you might keep ZAT in the list, you might keep Narsi Munji, you might keep SNAP, all right? But I would say that if you are dreaming for some of the top colleges in the country, then IIFT has to be there in the list. Okay, so keeping all these things into consideration, we'll be talking about the different things which are related to IIFT. So in this session, I'll be talking about the pattern of IIFT examination, the syllabus for each of the sections that is there in the IIFT section, IIFT examination. So we'll be talking about the syllabus, the examination pattern. I'll also be looking at the previous year paper, and we'll be talking about what was the good score in the previous year examination, how many questions an average student could have attempted, as well as we'll be talking about the cutoffs of IIT examination. Now, after that, I'll also be throwing some light on the placement records of IIFT, how the placements were in the last year. And besides that, I'll also be telling you what all things are considered in the selection procedure in IIFT. All right. So let us quickly begin with this session. Now, this session will be a very short and crisp session, probably 15 to 20 minutes, in which I'll be discussing each and everything about IIFT, right? Now, the examination that all of you will be taking will be for the admissions in IIFT for the academic year 2024 to 26. So, the examination is called IIFT 2024, right? The examination will be conducted somewhere in the month of November this year. So, November 2023 में examination होगा, but the name of the examination is called IIFT 2024. All right, it is not IIFT 2023. ओके सो कैट जैसे अगर इस साल है तो कैट को तो हम कैट 2023 बोल देते हैं, कैट 2023. ओके, बट आईआईटी एग्जामिनेशन दैट विल बी टेकिंग इन द नवंबर ऑफ this year will be called as IIFT 2024. So don't think that you will be preparing for IIFT the next year. No, IIFT examination will be conducted this year only. All right. Now, talking about what can be the paper pattern, what's our take on the IIFT paper pattern? So, this paper pattern has been constant since last few years. So, let us discuss each of these sections one by one. So, section number one, quantitative analysis. Also, it is not necessary that this particular these sections will come in this particular order. Okay, so it can be any order. Also, It can be in any sequence, first of all, and there is no sectional time limit for any of the sections of IIFT examination. All right. So the first section, quantitative analysis, having 25 questions. Marks per question is 3. There is a negative marking, yes, of -1. That is 1/3 of the marks allotted. So the overall weightage of this entire section is 75 marks. Then comes reading comprehension and verbal ability, having 35 questions. Now these 35 questions will consist of the questions of reading comprehensions. Okay, I'll be elaborating on this as well. Now the weightage again is 3 marks with a -1 of negative marking, and 35 into 3, the overall weightage is 105. Data interpretation and logical reasoning you will see in a single section, having 30 questions. Okay, again, what is the breakup of logical reasoning? What is the breakup of data interpretation? We'll be looking at from the point of view of previous year paper. Marks per question is 3, negative marking of -1, and the overall weightage is 90. Now, general awareness is also tested in this examination. Last year, there were 20 questions of general awareness. The weightage of every question is 1.5, half the weightage of the other 3 sections. Okay, with a negative marking of -0.5, once again, 1/3 of the marks allocated, and the total weightage of the section will be 30 marks. So total number of questions in this paper is 110, and the total marks is 300. Now there will be 4 options for each of the questions that you will get. Negative marking, 1/3 of the marks allocated for every question, and the examination has the sectional cutoffs. So there is an overall cutoff for the selection for IIFT, as well as the sectional cutoffs are also there in this examination. So that means you'll have to be above average in each of the sections, and overall your score should be such that you should be able to clear the overall cutoff of IIFT examination. Now moving forward, if I look at the syllabus for IIFT, right? So first section, the verbal section. Last year the paper was heavy on vocabulary. So yes, I'll keep vocabulary as the foremost important thing. In vocabulary, you will see different type of questions which are based on synonyms, antonyms, analogies, idioms and phrases, fill in the blanks, right? So these are the different ways, different manner in which the questions can be asked based on vocabulary. Rarely we saw the question on grammar in the last year, but still you must be prepared for this, because if I talk about not the last year, but the years before that, so yes, the questions from grammar have been asked in examination. Okay, so the questions based on identifying the error, choosing the correct statement out of the given statements, prepositions, sentence correction, sentence completion, tenses, parts of speech, all these things have been previously asked in the examination. Now, finally, reading comprehension. So there will be RC passages, okay, reading comprehension. Then comprehension based questions can be in jumbled sentences, so para jumbles, jumbled sentences, odd one out. So there will be sentences and you'll have to find out which of the sentences is odd one out. All right. Then para summary is also there, right? So all these things are tested in the verbal section of IIFT examination, right? Now moving forward to the next section, logical reasoning and data interpretation. So data interpretation, normal calculation type question. So जो CAT में जिस टाइप के क्वेश्चंस आते हैं ना, लॉजिकल डेटा इंटरप्रिटेशन, CAT में अब किस टाइप के क्वेश्चंस आते हैं? DI के क्वेश्चंस जिसमें कैलकुलेशंस कम होती हैं एंड लॉजिक ज्यादा होता है. So this is what we find in CAT. But IIFT data interpretation is totally different from what you get in CAT examination. So IIFT का जो data interpretation होता है, that is calculation intensive. Okay, so the data will be given in the form of bar graphs, pie charts, tables, histograms. There can be questions on set theory, Venn diagrams, right? But the questions will be calculated, and calculator is not given. On-screen calculator is not allowed in IIFT. Okay, so you have to be good in calculations, right? Now talking about the reasoning part, the analytical reasoning. So you will have questions from every variety. All right, all the varieties. So linear and circular arrangements, syllogisms, blood relations, coding, decoding, clocks, calendars, Venn diagrams, matrix arrangement, selections, groupings. So all these type of questions are expected to appear in IIFT examination, right? Now moving forward to the third section, quant section. So whatever syllabus that you see for CAT examination, everything is there. in IIFT. So the questions ranging in arithmetic, algebra, these are the two most important areas. Then you may find questions from number systems, geometry and mensuration, modern maths, and so on. So whatever you see, whatever you have prepared for CAT examination, similar is the type of questions that you will be getting in the QA section of IIFT 2024. All right. Now, talking about the placements of last year. So the placements of the batch, okay, of which ended in 2022 and which will be passing out in 2024. So this is the placement scenario for that. So the total batch size of 392 students, right? Gender diversity, there were 75% males and 25% females. Now, total number of recruiters that came to the campus was 82, and there were 26 new recruiters this time. The highest CTC offered was 46.5 lakhs per annum. This is domestic package. I'm not talking about the international package. All right. The average CTC for the entire batch was 25.16 lakhs per annum. Now, if I'll consider the top 10% of the students, so the average CTC for top 10% of the students, let's say top 40, 45 students. So it was 41.8 lakhs per annum. Average pay package for top 25% of the students, that means around 100 students. So it was whooping 34.3 lakhs per annum. The median CTC was 24 lakhs, and most of the companies that came to the campus belong to consulting. So the role that was offered was in consulting, right? So this is the placement scenario for IIFT. Now, looking at these numbers, I can say that it is worth preparing for this examination. Yes, it is worth getting into this college, right? Now, moving ahead and now talking about the last year analysis of IIFT examination. So let's talk about what was there the last year. I'll also be talking about the level of difficulty of each of the sections and the type of question that appeared in each of these sections. So the paper pattern we have already discussed. So this was the paper pattern for the last year, right? Respectively 25, 35, 30 and 20 questions in QA, reading comprehension and verbal ability, data interpretation and logical reasoning, and general awareness. Okay, now let us understand the type of questions that we have seen in the last year paper. Now, in quantitative analysis, there were 25 questions, and according to the level of difficulty of the paper, 12 to 13 number of questions is considered as good attempts, right? Good attempts with an accuracy of somewhere around 85%. So assume कर लो कि मैंने 12 questions भी attempt कर लिए हैं, and out of these 12 questions 2 or 3 questions are wrong. So 9 correct and 3 wrong. That means 9 into 3, 27, 27 minus 3 for negative marking, 24 marks. So 24 marks were easily achievable. I'll not use the word easily, but 24 marks were achievable for a student who has जिसने मेहनत की है, ठीक है, who has prepared for all these examinations throughout the year, who was targeting all these examinations. Okay, so I can say that 24 to 25 marks were achievable in this examination the last year, QA section, right? Now, moving on to the next section, out of 35 questions of reading comprehension and verbal ability, I'll give you the breakup. ये 35 questions में reading comprehension कितना है, vocabulary कितना है, I'll be telling you. So, out of these 35 questions, 18 to 19 questions, let's consider 18 the number, 18 questions अगर किसी ने कर लिया है तो that is considered as a good attempt with an accuracy of 65%. Okay, so let's say 35% of this, somewhere around 5 to 6 questions are incorrect. 6 questions incorrect हो गए 18 में से. So 12 सही हुए. 12 into 3 is 36. 36 minus 6 is 30. So 28 to 30 marks in this examination was achievable. क्वांट में कितना किया था हमने? 27, 24 to 25 marks. Okay, I'm talking about these sections separately. Now coming to data interpretation and logical reasoning. Data interpretation and logical reasoning बहुत ज़्यादा difficult section नहीं होता. It's just that you need to devote some time in this section. Okay, so out of 30 questions, 15 questions were considered as good attempts with an accuracy of again 80 to 85%. So अगर 12 questions भी सही हो जाते हैं, 3 questions wrong हो जाते हैं, ठीक है? So I have considered an accuracy of 80%. Average यही होती है 75-80%. So 12 correct and 3 wrong. So once again 36 minus 3, 33 marks. थोड़ा सा moderate हो जाते हैं, थोड़ा सा modest हो जाते हैं. So 30 marks could be achievable in this examination. Okay. Now nothing can be said about general awareness. भगवान भरोसे होता है ये सेक्शन, ठीक है? सबकी आदत है, हम में से कोई भी जनरल अवेयरनेस के लिए शुरू से प्रिपेयर नहीं करता, बट दिस इज द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट एरिया दैट यू मस्ट प्रिपेयर फॉर. जनरल अवेयरनेस, ठीक है, आप आर्ग्यू करोगे कि कैट के एग्जामिनेशन में जनरल अवेयरनेस नहीं आता. हु इज सेइंग दैट कैट में जनरल अवेयरनेस टेस्ट नहीं होता? कैट रिटन एग्जामिनेशन में टेस्ट नहीं होता, बट वंस यू हैव टेकन कैट, you'll be getting call from different IIMs, and what will happen after that? Personal interview, group discussion, essay writing, whatever is there, you will face the questions of general awareness each and every like at each and every place. Okay, so it's better if you will start reading some stuff from this day onwards if you have not started. Okay, now coming to the point, general awareness for IIFT examination. So last year there were 20 questions, and 5 to 6 questions, 6 to 7 questions were considered as good attempts. अब जनरल अवेयरनेस में क्या होता है कि हम जो भी क्वेश्चंस अटेम्प्ट कर रहे होते हैं, सो ऑब्वियसली हमें आंसर पता है या फिर नहीं पता. सो नथिंग इज ग्रे, एवरीथिंग इज ब्लैक एंड व्हाइट, राइट? सो आंसर करेक्ट होगा या फिर रॉन्ग होगा, यही हो सकता है. अगर मुझे पता है आंसर, आई विल मार्क द आंसर एंड वो क्वेश्चन करेक्ट हो जाएगा. सो प्रोबेबिलिटी ज्यादा होती है फ्लूक्स नहीं मारने, इस एग्जामिनेशन में फ्लूक्स नहीं मारने, बिकॉज देयर इज अ नेगेटिव मार्किंग. So if you will get 3 to 4 marks, if you can manage 3 to 4 marks in this section, then it is considered as a good score in general awareness. No, 3 to 4 marks, 3 to 4 questions. So that means somewhere around 6 to 7 marks. 6 to 7 marks is considered as good marks, right? So overall, out of 110 questions, if you can manage 42 questions with an accuracy of somewhere around 80%, then you should be able to clear the overall cutoff of this examination. Last year, the overall level of difficulty was moderate, and you can see the level of difficulties for different sections, right? So this was about the good number of attempts and the level of difficulty of last year examination. Now let's talk about section-wise analysis. Now, if I talk about quantitative analysis, the level of difficulty of QA was higher than the year before that. Okay, so 3 to 4 questions were sitters, were very easy, but apart from that, there were less number of sitters. Generally, अगर IIFT की बात करें, so out of these questions, we generally get, I would say, 6 to 7 sitters. But that was not the case in IIFT examination the last year. Okay, fine. So number of sitters was less out of these 25 questions. Clear? Now let's look at the breakup of these 25 questions. So from arithmetic, there were 7 questions. As always, arithmetic has always been the area from which majority of questions comes. So out of these 7 questions, 2 were sitters, 3 moderate, and 2 were difficult. Okay. I would say that this was for last year. The year before that, there were 8 to 9 questions from arithmetic. So this is the comparison of last 2 years. Okay. So last year and the year before that. So last year there were 7 questions. The year before that, there were 8 to 9 questions. Okay. And most of these questions were moderate the year before that. But last year, 2 sitters, 3 moderate, and 2 difficult questions were also there from arithmetic. ठीक है? Algebra पे आते हैं. So from algebra, there were 3 questions last year, and the year before that, there were 5 to 6 questions. Both years, the level of difficulty was moderate to difficult for algebra. Number system, there were 1 questions in both the years. From geometry and geometry, mensuration, and trigonometry, there were 8 questions the last year. CAT में ये वाला जो area है इतना ज़्यादा important नहीं है. Okay, but IIFT के लिए geometry is one of the most important areas. Look at the year before that. The year before that, still there were 6 questions from this area. Now, last year, all these questions were from moderate level of difficulty, right? अगेन मॉडर्न मैथ्स, कैट में एक या दो क्वेश्चंस मिलते हैं हमें मॉडर्न मैथ्स में, बट आईएफटी में देयर वर 4 क्वेश्चंस इन बोथ द ईयर्स फ्रॉम मॉडर्न मैथ्स. Moderate to difficult was the level of difficulty. Now last year there were 2 questions from clocks and calendars as well. Generally हमें ये वाले questions reasoning में मिलते हैं, but last year these questions were kept in the QA section. Okay, so overall 25 questions were there, and the level of difficulty, like I told you earlier, it was difficult than the year before that. Okay, now moving ahead and coming to reading comprehension section. So verbal ability मैंने दो parts में break किया है. Reading comprehension, there were 4 RC passages, okay, in both the years. So last year and the year before that, in both these years there were 4 RC passages. But in the last year, these 4 RC passages, each of the passage had 4 questions. But the year before that, the breakup was different: 5, 5, 3 and 3. Total number of questions was 16 in both the years, but the breakup of these RC passages was different. Now looking at the level of difficulty, so last year the level of difficulty was easier as compared to the year before that. Okay, now in both the years, look at the genre from which these RC passages appears. So psychology, economy, international economy and business, these were the areas last year. The year before that, management theory, consumption of resources, God and morality, and styles of communication. So these are the areas. So try to understand by studying the pattern of or the type of RC passages appears in IIFT. So look at the trend for last 5 years. The papers are available online. So you can download all these papers and you must start practicing the RC passages of IIFT examination as well. ठीक है? आगे चलते हैं. Now the remaining question of verbal. So 16 questions were from RC passages. We have already seen that. And now the remaining 19 questions were from verbal ability. Now verbal ability, last year the pattern was specific to the vocabulary. Each and every question required the usage of vocabulary. Now these are the different ways in which the questions were asked: word origin, spelling errors, contextual usage of vocabulary, the words of vocabulary in fill in the blanks, correct adjective, word meaning, idioms, meaning of roots and suffixes, antonyms, collective nouns, one word, word meaning, crossword. So all these were based on vocabulary. So when it comes to vocabulary, I would say that IIFT के लिए vocabulary strong करना पड़ेगा. कैट में इतना ज्यादा vocabulary का यूज नहीं है. I would say बिल्कुल भी यूज नहीं है. कैट में direct vocabulary के questions नहीं मिलते हमें. But IIFT के लिए you have to start building up your vocabulary. All right. Okay. Now moving on to the third section, data interpretation and logical reasoning. So talking about last year, there were 4 sets from data interpretation having 4 questions each. All right, so this is 16 out of 30. So 16 questions were of data interpretation, and that was typical data interpretation. Okay, calculation intensive. And the remaining 14 questions were of logical reasoning, and you can also look at the breakup. Okay, so there were 4 questions from the set of games and tournaments, 3 on circular arrangements, 2 on linear arrangements, algebra caselets, roots and networks, grouping पे एक standalone question. Okay, so this part was easy. One of the DI sets was easy. So if you can manage 12 to 13 questions correct in this section, then I would say that you can easily clear the cutoff. Okay, fine. So this is the breakup for the LRDI section of IIFT. Now moving on to the last section, I would say that it is the most important section. Make or break हो सकता है examination. बहुत सारे cases में क्या होता है? Students can easily clear the cutoff of quant, verbal and data interpretation, logical reasoning. तीनों की cutoffs clear हो जाती है, sectional cutoff clear हो जाती है, and overall cutoff भी clear हो जाती है. But the problem comes in the in clearing the sectional cutoff of general awareness. So this section can make or break your examination. Fine. Now last year, out of 20 questions of general awareness, there were 14 to 15 questions from static GK. And there were 5 to 6 questions from current affairs. The year before that बिल्कुल उल्टा था. 4 to 5 questions were from static GK and 15 to 16 questions were from current affairs. So if somebody will ask me कि यार IIFT का पैटर्न क्या है, ज्यादा क्वेश्चन करंट अफेयर्स में से आते हैं या फिर स्टैटिक जीके में से, so nobody can predict this particular thing. Okay, so please don't come under the influence of people who will keep giving gyan on the type of question that appears in GK section. So you can see the pattern of last 2 years. ऐसे भी नहीं कि alternate years में एक टाइम पे स्टेटिक हैवी आता है, एक टाइम पे करंट अफेयर्स हैवी आता है, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. फाइन. So if I study the pattern of last 2 years, I will understand that nothing is fixed in this examination. Okay, fine. So you need to prepare for each and every type of general awareness, static as well as dynamic. Okay. Now, moving ahead and talking about the IIFT cutoff and the selection criteria. Okay, so last year again benchmark rakha hai maine. So for general category, the last year cutoff was 52 marks overall cutoff. For general EWS, economic weaker section, and OBC NCL, it was 47. For ST, ST and PWD, it was 42. For Kashmiri migrants and non-migrants, I believe यहाँ पे कुछ गड़बड़ है, ये कम होना चाहिए. Okay, just ignore that. Fine. Now going ahead, the selection criteria, right? So this is the percentage weightage that is given to each and every parameter. So number one parameter is IIFT score. 73% weightage is given to the score of IIFT. Okay, the written examination. Then marks obtained in 10 standard, 10% weightage is given. Marks obtained in 12 standard, 10% weightage is given. Academic diversity. नॉन इंजीनियरिंग बैकग्राउंड से हो तो सीधा सीधा 5 मार्क्स मिल जाएंगे, इंजीनियरिंग बैकग्राउंड से हो तो 0 मार्क्स मिलेंगे. ठीक है. जेंडर डाइवर्सिटी, फॉर मेल्स इट इज 0 एंड फॉर फीमेल्स इट इज एडिशनल 2 पॉइंट्स. ओके, सो टोटल अगर ऐड करोगे इट विल ऐड अप टू 100. Okay, now how these scores are calculated? So academic diversity clear है, gender diversity clear है. IIFT में जो score आएगा 73% weightage will be given to that score. Now let's talk about these two areas, marks obtained in 10th and 12th. Okay, so these are the ratings that will be given to you based on the marks scored in 10th standard. So if you have above 90 percentage in 10th standard, you will be given 10 points. Between 80 to 90, 8 points. 70 to 80, 5 points. 60 to 70, 3 points. 55 to 60, 2 points. And then less than 55%, you will get only 1 point. Similar is the criteria for 12th standard, as you can see in this table. Okay, so this is the rating scores for the marks you have obtained in 12th standard. All right. So friends, this is all about the entire selection procedure, the syllabus, the cutoffs, the placements of the IIFT examination. I hope you would have liked this session. You would have liked the efforts that we have made for all of you. Okay. In case you have any question related to IIFT, you can post it in the chat box and I'll be happy to answer to that question. Right. Now, in the near future, we will be bringing many such sessions for all of you in which we'll enlighten you for the different examinations that you'll have to appear in this academic year. So other than CAT, like people keep focusing on CAT only, but understand that other than CAT, there are plenty of examinations which are very important. Okay, IIFT is one of them. So if you are dreaming big, then IIFT must be there in the list of examinations that you want to take. All right, friends. So that's all from my side. Now for the students who have not yet started their preparation for CAT examination, so BYJU'S Exam Prep offers different batches for the preparation of CAT 2023. Okay, so you can join us, join our CAT 2023 program, which is the most comprehensive program online. You can see the complete details of this program on your screen. Also, there will be a link that will be given in the description using which you can fetch some more details about this program. All right. So you can follow us on all these social media platforms. Friends, that is all from my side about IIFT examination. Thank you very much for being so patient. Thank you very much for being present in this session. All the very best for the preparation. Have a nice day. Bye bye.